The scenes we saw on the New York City subway were tragic. Jordan Neely, a street performer and houseless man, was on the subway, reportedly asking for food and water. Although he did not make contact with anyone, a Marine named Daniel Penny, whose name we would only learn because of folks on social media investigating who the man was, suffocated Neely with a chokehold. He would die. Penny did not spend the night in a jail cell. He went home and slept in his own bed. There were demonstrations in New York City over the mistreatment. However, one man said not so fast.
Well, it's unfortunate and it's hard to come to a definitive conclusion. I don't know all the facts, so I'm not ready to convict him like a lot of people. Politicians and citizens have been so quick to convict this man of that. He did have him in a chokehold for in excess of 3 minutes.
Stephen A. Smith thought we shouldn't rush to judgment for a man taking the life of another. His 3-minute line is treacherous and untruthful. NBC New York reported it was 15 minutes. Rupert Murdoch owned New York Post, the same man who owns Fox News, where Smith made these comments, reported it was 15 minutes. Local paper, the New York Amsterdam News, also reported 15 minutes.
And as a native New Yorker that's seeing crime ravaging through our streets or whatever, I don't blame a lot of citizens for being scared as hell right now for some of the stuff that's going on.
Where they missed the mark is the following, and I discussed this on the main Young Turks show.
I find this entire story to be a travesty. And I know that we're focusing on this, but let me just say, this is a product of the United States not caring about its own citizens. This is not a mental health crisis. It is. It's not just a mental health crisis. This has to do with lack of health care. And I want to sum this up very quickly. But someone who is going through that should not be homeless. They should be able to get the care that they need. A story that I covered previously was of a former professional baseball player named Andrew Tolles, who was found to have serious mental health issues, anxiety, depression. He was arrested behind an airport. The Dodgers signed him in order for him to get health care. These people should not have to have, a $1 billion company sign them, or even CVS sign them to a minimum wage, if it's even there, to get healthcare. It's the embodiment of how this country from the Reagan years do not give a damn about its citizens and would rather have people go homeless than support them.
One thing that stuck out to me was Penny responding to calls of him being racist as the optics not necessarily in his favor. He'd say, it's a little bit comical. Everybody who's ever met me can tell you I love all people. I love all cultures. You can tell by my past and all my travels and adventures around the world. I was actually planning a road trip through Africa before this happened. Yes, because if there is one defense to the question of how can this guy be racist, well, the main defense is Africa was on my vacay list.
Much has been said and asserted as fact regarding Jordan's mental health. How he was having a mental health crisis, how he was dangerous, how he was acting erratic, crazy, and aggressive. And there's been a significant effort made on the part of people hoping to humanize him by saying things like, the passenger's fears were valid, but he shouldn't have been killed, or we shouldn't react to mental health episodes this way. But I would like to seriously ask this. Why are you defending against a premise you need not accept?
Olayemi Olurin, a public defender in New York, broke it down further. Check out her channel. That claim, the one of, I love all cultures, and actually I'm going to visit Africa, is a hollow deflection from accusations of racism, wrote NBC. Even in an era in which the GOP has become an overt white nationalist organ and Fox News pundits float racist conspiracy theories about immigration, it's still difficult to find people who would say in polite company that they dislike specific races or cultures. Guys like Tim Pool, a conservative grifter who pivoted for profit, brought attention to Penny's defense, donating $20K. Kid Rock, who takes his frustrations out on beer, joined the cause. These efforts brought the total to a sweltering $2.6 million, and it's growing. Penny is now seen as a hero to the right. When Tyree Nichols, by the way, was killed by members of the Memphis Police Department, Poole made the typical pivot of, this is because defund the police, and black policemen beating a black man is not the problems you think, adding, this is all the protesters' fault. Just more BS.
And then he stumbles upon a winning solution for him financially, which is racism. And so he became known as the guy on the left who blames black people for everything. So you would watch his show and just rando, out of nowhere, everything would come back to it's black people's fault. And then the right wingers love that. They were like, and it's the old Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore model, right? Oh, I am on the left, but trust me, it's the left's fault for everything.
What Smith is doing is playing into this. Fear of rising crime, real or imagined, has long been a potent political issue for Republicans who claim liberal coddling has allowed crime to skyrocket in big cities nationwide. New York Republican gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin, loser, hit the issue hard in his closer than expected 2022 campaign against the current governor who shills for corporations and is just a corporate Democrat. Penny has been charged in the case, all right? What frightens me is the criminalizing of homelessness, the Good Samaritan label right-wingers attach to Penny's name, and the absence of thought on how we got here as a society. Neely should still be alive if Penny did not take matters into his own hands and murder him, but we must go deeper as well. It never should have gotten to this point if the state simply cared about its own citizens.